Hey, I wanted to open up something I've never opened to the public before, which is some of my critiques from our 14-day challenge. We do a 14-day challenge where for 14 days, you get trained in hardcore marketing psychology, sales psychology, how to make more effective videos, how to generate more customers and leads online and on social media. And 3 times throughout the challenge, I do critiques where I actually go through the contestants' videos and make notes. And so today I'm gonna quickly go through some of the points and some of the coaching that I'm giving to these aspiring rock stars, to these aspiring social media enthusiasts to help them with their videos, all right? So, and I'm gonna quickly go through it. I'm not gonna use names. I break down the names inside the challenge, but today I'm just going to give my feedback. So, first of all, one type of call to action, which you'll hear me say, call it CTA. One type of call to action that I really like is sets of notes or tips. And I love it when someone uses something physical, all right? Like when someone says, hey, right here, you'll get these 7, tips. A call to action is typically set at the end of your video to get someone to react to it and reach out to you. So you generate a lead and then you connect with that lead. So you generate a lead, connect with a lead, determine the need. Very, very powerful way to think. And that was some of my feedback. Number 2, if you're gonna have text, right? If you're gonna have text in your video, you wanna make sure you flip your screen. If you have a phone that doesn't allow you to flip your screen, I would probably avoid text because it can bother some people. It doesn't bother me, but it bothers some people, okay? I love demonstrations, cooking demonstrations, makeup demonstrations, gardening demonstrations. Demonstrations are great. Always know that the 2 most important parts of your live videos are the title, what gets them to stop the scroll, and your call to action, what gets them to generate a lead. So when you're doing a call to action, be careful that you don't say it's one thing. So don't say, hey, I found this great website, reach out to me for this great website. Because that has the viewer think, well, why don't you just say the darn website? Why do I have to reach out to you? So what sounds better is have it make logical sense that it's a list that people need to reach out for. So even if you said, hey, I'll give you my top 3 websites, or I'll give you my 3 different article sources of how I got this information, whatever information you're sharing on a video. Much more powerful. And be careful with the energy of your video. Sometimes we're doing a video and circumstances aren't ideal, right? And don't set them up for disappointment. So one of the contestants started with, I was gonna show you some art, but I really can't. And so they don't need to know that. If you're not gonna show it, don't say it. So I was gonna do something really, really awesome, but here we are, right? So don't set them up for disappointment. Always think about the viewer and what they're up to. You don't have to divulge information that isn't serving to them. Some of my notes are hard to read. Look at the camera, not the picture. Notice the difference. Hey, how are you today? That's the camera. Hey, how are you today? Don't you feel disconnected? Doesn't that feel a little different? It's a really, really common feedback I give to people. And one word of warning is you can't say, the #1 way to help your acne, and then do a video and share everything but that #1 way and tell them to reach out to you for that #1 way. They're gonna see that as bait and switch, false advertising, fake news. And so don't give them a title that entices them but doesn't actually fulfill. You wanna be really careful with that one. Also, even if you're an influencer, then about anything you can do will get attention, right? And that's great, and that's awesome. Don't be intellectually lazy. So don't use titles that would entice people that don't know you. So I have constantly made the mistake of speaking only to my audience, those that know my quirks and my goofiness and everything, and my hardcoreness too. I have to think about all those millions of people who aren't seeing my video, and always remember that. Make sure your call to action is clear. And by the way, if you're an influencer and you're like, hey, I'm getting plenty of business. Well, if you follow sound psychology and sales and marketing, sales and marketing psychology, you will double your business easily. I know because I did. I became influential and I got a little lazy, and then I started going hardcore with strategy, and my business, I mean, it's more than doubled, but it did really well. Okay, here's a good one. So before you get to your call to action, don't tip your hat. Don't tell them, well, that's all I got to say for the thing. And oh, by the way, don't say that. Don't end like that's all the value you're about to get. Don't do that, because then people tune out. So you want to say one last exciting thing, right? You want to keep them. You want to pretend like they're busy. They're chasing kids or doing laundry. They're late for an appointment, but they want to stop and make sure they catch that last tip. So here's some advanced coaching. Not everyone's ready for this one. This is not easy. When you're doing your videos, try to avoid speaking to a group or speaking around a group. So when you say the words some people or anyone or most people or some people or you guys, say you. You know, some people struggle with marketing. You are struggling with marketing, and here's how to help it. How does that feel? Do you feel the difference? So use the word you more than some of you or you guys, or speak to an individual, because it's always only an individual viewing your actual video. That's a tough one. I still work on that. I sometimes screw that up. Okay. I would no longer use the term free webinar, because free webinar has really been overused. And what do you think when you hear the words free webinar? You think sales pitch, don't you? And so be careful using free webinar. A better thing would just be a recording, training, strategy session, like almost anything, but free webinar is not that great. Make sure that your lighting is okay. Don't give yourself overexposure. Like if our ring light is pretty good, so it's kind of hard to give overexposure, but make sure you're not overexposed, and make sure, do your best with your sound. And that's it. Those are my tips. If that was helpful to you, drop me a comment. Feel free to share with other people that are on your same journey. Maybe they will benefit from this. And if you want to get registered for our upcoming free training, we're doing a special Veterans Day training. It's at higdongroup.com/veterans, higdongroup.com/veterans. I think you'll really like it. Totally free. And I'll see you on Veterans Day.